Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. It's still Breakfast Daily right here on Citi TV, and it's time for the news review segment for today, in respect of which we shall be taking a look at some of the headlines, especially in the papers. So let's start with the Daily Graphic. The Daily Graphic has on its front page here, kidnapping of 2 Canadians, 8 arrested, and Ghana could have female leader soon. President. Now, that story, you can find the details on page 16 this morning of the Daily Graphic. Another story on page 53 is ADB hands over check for 2018 Best Farmer. Congratulations. Now, moving on to the Ghanaian Times. Dramatic. Police rescue 2 Canadian ladies. Arrest 8 suspected kidnappers. And the full details are on page 17 of the Ghanaian Times this morning. Also, limited voters registration takes off June 17. We shall be taking a look at that story shortly. Ofosu Ampofo expected to report to the CID today. And we'll talk about this story too. Very, very important. And Cocoa Confab agrees on $2,600 floor price. But, interesting. Moving on, the Business Finder. Cocoa, $2,600 fixed as minimum price per ton from next season. Also on page 2, mining, no energy challenges. Amewu. Now the sector minister. Page 11 of the Business Finder has a story that reads MPA to pilot cylinder recirculation model in Obuasi Kwaibibim. We've heard about the cylinder recirculation model for a really long time now. It's been over a year, I think, and still, we haven't started. The Custodian. Canadian girls rescued. 8 kidnappers nabbed. So that's what we have on the front page of the Custodian. There's also another story here that says technical and vocational skills to promote Ghana's development. And page 2 has the full details in the Custodian newspaper this morning. Also, we have tight electoral system. Jean Mensah says this, and she is the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. And finally, a story here reads, Okwe fights human trafficking, forced labor. Page 2 of the Custodian. Now, moving on, the new Crusading Guide. Canadian girls rescued as national security apprehends 10 suspects. Your sterling leadership, envy to developing countries. Guyana president tells Akufo-Addo. So the president of the Republic of Ghana has received the highest award or the highest honor given to persons in Guyana. NLA clashes with staff over formation of union as it flouts NLC directives. And finally, TVET will power Ghana to greatness, coming from a deputy minister. So get a copy of the new Crusading Guide to get more details. Moving on, The Chronicle. The Chronicle has on its front page here that Ghana is safe to visit. Information Minister declares as 2 Canadians are rescued. 3 Nigerians amongst 8 suspected persons or 8 suspects grabbed in the dawn swoop. So a big shame to the Ghanaians who are involved. Shame on you. Shame on you. Anyway, I am prepared to cede my seat to a woman, Okujeto. Finally, by way of print, I shall look at the ABC newspaper. 2 abducted Canadians rescued. 8 suspects arrested. If you look at the images of the suspect, they are varying ages. Some look really, really young. And it's sad. It's really, really sad. Free SHS is a game changer, says Scholarship Secretariat boss. The full details you can find on the back page. And also, Ghana makes its maiden appearance at the Global Petroleum Show in Calgary, Canada. So that's what we have by way of print. Now, let's move on to some online stories. And by online stories, I'm going to read from citinewsroom.com. Our first story here says, Ofosu Ampofo returns to CID headquarters today. So there was a warrant issued for his arrest, and today he is to visit the CID headquarters again. Now, another story here says, Ofosu Ampofo's arrest won't intimidate us. We are still marching for 2020 victory. This is according to the NDC. And of course, Johnson Esiedun Ketia has this to say. We shall be getting into the details of these stories later in respect of Ofosu Ampofo and the arrest and his subsequent visit or his intended visit to the CID today. Now, moving on, EC sets June 17 for limited voters registration. So the Supreme Court has thrown out a case to more or less put an injunction on the Electoral Commission from holding this limited voters registration exercise. And June 17 has been set for this to actually take place. We shall discuss this. Ghana not in a position to pay back alarming debts. This is coming from the former Deputy Finance Minister for the Republic of Ghana, Wilberforce, and he had this to say yesterday on The Point of View. I must say that was probably the longest episode of The Point of View I have ever seen, and was very, very insightful. Moving on, reliable public information will help us rescue kidnapped girls, and this is according to the Ghana Police Service. Now let's move on to some business stories. And your one-stop shop for all business-related news is citybusinessnews.com. Citybusinessnews.com, we have a story here that says price of domestic gas will drop soon. According to the Deputy Energy Minister, we are really, really looking forward to a reduction in prices of anything, especially when we are the ones buying. If you are the ones selling, you want it to go up small maybe. Now, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire secure $2,600 minimum price for a ton of cocoa. And finally, City Business Festival. So the sales revolution is actually starting today. So you don't want to miss this. It's pushed by the CBS, that's the City Breakfast Show team. So 97.3 City FM. Do tune in and you will get more details. So the sales revolution is today. You don't want to miss that. I'll just introduce my guest for this morning's edition of News Review. I have been joined by the Honourable Member of Parliament for Ayensuano, Honourable Samuel Aye-Paye. Good morning, welcome to Breakfast.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's been a while.
Yeah, you're right.
It's been too long.
Your program is based on invitation, so anytime you invite me, I'll appear.
Well, it's always good that you respond whenever you are invited.
Exactly.
Okay, now I want to start off with a story here from citynewsroom.com. It's in relation to the kidnapped girls. It says here that the Ghana Police Service says it is counting on the general public to support it in its efforts to rescue the 3 kidnapped Takoradi girls who have been missing for more than 6 months. Actually, it's close to a year. That's how we like to see it. ACP David Eklu made this known in a City News interview where he said the police service is collaborating closely with other security agencies in the country as part of its work to rescue the girls, but it needs more information from the public. Now, in respect of this whole kidnapping issue, there's been contention that when it came to foreigners, we had some form of Canadian support and the police acted, and within 6 days the girls have been found. But our girls have been missing for some 8 months or so, and nothing has been done significantly beyond the arrest of the 2 that we have. The girls are they've still not been found.
Well, let me say good morning to your viewers this morning, and especially my constituency in Ayensuano in the Eastern region. And also congratulate the president, His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, for the award Guyana president it's given to him. I think it's good news for Ghana and Africa as a whole. My brother, it's worrying. The situation where kidnapping here and there, and there's the need for us as a country to get up and tighten our security. It is something that I, for one, I was expecting it. As soon as you see the development of a country moving into a lower middle level status, the oil booming, and a lot of investors coming in. As soon as you see that happening in any country, those things are good. Those things, it's a blessing to the country, but they come with criminals. You were interviewing the man, the maritime. Yes, you see how they are getting prepared to prevent criminals from going into a deep sea to the shore and many things. It is something that we should have prepared to meet, because definitely when any country gets to that stage, definitely we see those people coming, and more especially the oil refine the recovery, the discovery of oil in the commercial quantity. You know, these oil-rich countries like Nigeria, the Nigerians will come and try to do business with us. And they come and those criminals will follow them here. So it is important for us, especially the immigration service and all the security agencies across the country, to be prepared and prevent some of these things from happening. I'm not saying they are not working, they are not doing anything of that sort. They are. That is why they've been able to reduce the happening of some of these incidents.
But the information minister seeks to assure Ghanaians that Ghana is safe.
Exactly.
Do you share this opinion?
Yeah, that is why I said they've been able to work to reduce this incident. That doesn't mean that it's not happening at all. We've heard of about the Canadian girl issued add up to 2 that we have actually been aware and are working to rescue them. So Ghana is safe. If Ghana is not safe, we may even have more of these things happening. That I'm saying that knowing that once we've gotten the oil, once the foreigners are coming to invest in this country, now that the foreign investment is going up, definitely you will see this criminal coming. So the security agencies are prepared, but they can't reduce it to zero.
You're trying to relate the kidnapping to say that Ghana is doing well.
Exactly. And they come with, you see, in the country, when we're struggling, when we're not having the oil, when international investment to this country was low, these things were not happening in this country. You heard the Navy man talking about hijacking of oil vessels and those things. These things are issues that attract the criminals into the country. And every country that gets to that point by getting enough oil, getting more investment, attracts criminals. That is why when you get to that stage, you must tighten your security and make sure that the security agencies work very well to make sure that they prevent some of these things from happening. And when they prevent, definitely 1 or 2 of them will escape them, and it happens like what is happening in Takoradi girls. So I'll take this opportunity to also
it would have been a direct correlation if maybe the kidnapping was in respect of people who may be objectively known to be well-to-do, but we may not be able to say the same about these Takoradi girls. So trying to relate the kidnapping to say that Ghana is doing well. If we weren't doing well, we wouldn't be seeing these criminal activities. Maybe a bit of a stretch.
But not in a larger proportion as we see. If the criminal comes to steal the rich man and he doesn't get him, they don't want to go empty. I was having discussion with the Ghana Maritime, International Maritime, West African Maritime Director who just left your studio, just before he entered the studio. They said when those hijackers come and they don't get a ship, they don't want to go empty-handed. So they end up getting anything that they want. And
but some would also argue that the kidnappings have rather increased in the country, or crime has increased in the country because of lack of employment. There's a growing sense of unemployment among the youth. That's why they're doing what they're doing.
I am trying to relate what is happening in terms of kidnapping to the attraction of investment, the oil discovery, and many other things. It is not the only factor. You see, when the criminals are the local people only, then you can say that there's no employment. So people are, and we are not talking about increase in crime. We are talking, this specifically, we want to restrict to kidnapping. And anytime we hear of this kidnapping, those that are the suspects that are arrested are involving some foreigners. And I'm seeing that these foreigners they come to the country when they see that the country is doing well, when they see that investment in the country is going high, when they see that there's oil in the country and a lot of investment is going on in the country. It attracts such criminals. That is why you must grow the economy of a country with the growth in the security agencies.
So one would say that the government of the day should have known this, assuming that that what you're saying is true.
Yeah.
That is connected to the economic growth of the country. Then one would say that then the government should have reasonably known to beef up their security.
Any security expert will tell you that economic growth also goes with more criminals getting into the country, and they are aware. That I'm saying that.
And what was done, if indeed they were aware, what was done to curb this or to avoid this?
So many things.
Like what, informing Ghanaians to be careful, because that was not done.
How can we say that it was not done?
That was not done. If you go to the Ghana Police, social media page right now, they have posts and they are asking Ghanaians. This was even after the kidnapping a few weeks ago. They are asking Ghanaians, what's your favorite Ghanaian movie with police people inside?
Well,
instead of informing Ghanaians or educating Ghanaians, that's what you see on that.
As chairman of Rules and Transport Committee in Parliament, I am well informed that the Ghana government equipped the Ghana Maritime Authority with equipment that can help them to see what is happening deep into the deep sea. So we can't sit here and say that they haven't done anything about it. So many things were done to make sure that this kind of kidnapping, crime rate will go down. But I'm trying to say that though we do that, you may not be able to eliminate it completely.
Yes,
definitely you will have one or two happening. And I'm saying that, yes, that is why we have gone this Takoradi issue and also that of the Canadian issue.
I believe you're purporting to also say that there's been an immense boom in economic growth in the country. You haven't said that, but I can glean that from what you're saying.
Said that. I'm saying that when we are getting richer and richer and things are going on well and so oil discovery.
Wonderful. So richer and richer is what I'm relating to economic boom.
There's a difference between the economic boom.
Let's use your term, richer and richer.
Yeah, but you can't also say that our GDP has gone up, investment, foreign investment has gone up, oil recovery, discovery has gone up.
How do you describe the upliftment?
So
would you say it's a minor uplift or it's a major uplift? GDP growth,
whatever it is. If you move your GDP from 3-something% to close to about 7 to 8%,
yes,
you cannot say that it's not a good growth.
So no, I just want you to give me: is it minor or major growth?
I would say in between.
In between.
Yes, because we can't say that moving from 3.5 to close to about 8 is a minor increase in the growth of the economy.
Neither is it major. It's in between.
Exactly, so because we haven't gotten to where we can put our hand into our chest.
So we would have hoped for an in-between improvement in security. If we're expecting that once our GDP and foreign investment is growing, we would have expected
exactly. That is why we saw the government trying to increase the number of police personnel that we have in this country. That is why we saw the government trying to get equipment in terms of vehicles and other things to support the police service. Not only the police, the armed forces were also supported quite recently. So, and then the Navy were also supported. Ghana Maritime Authority recently bought about 6 speedboats that we're using with the Navy to check security of sea. So these things,
I'm glad that you're in Parliament. Honorable Aye-Paye, I'm glad that you're in Parliament. Okay, and you know, according to our laws, as much as we have done a lot of hue and cry about kidnapping in the country. Substantively in our laws, the maximum punishment for kidnapping is 10 years. Only 10 years. What is Parliament doing about this?
Well, you see the criminal code.
Yeah.
But these things are happening, and we see that it is threat to the growth of our economy, it is important the ministers come to Parliament, and if they need a stiffer punishment for such offenders, we do that. Because when we don't control and prevent these things from happening, people investing or foreigners coming to invest in this country will go down. It will make so many things happen in this country that will affect the growth of the economy. That is why the government is so particular about how we can fight crime and also reduce
we are talking about
this country.
Fighting crime and economy. I'm talking about what is Parliament doing to amend this? Because 10 years might not be deterrent enough for a hardened criminal.
Parliament can't do anything to change the law. What
Parliament can't amend the law?
Yes. What Parliament, you see, we must know how laws are amended. This will go to, it is in the Ministry of the Attorney General and Minister for Justice. Right. What Parliament can do is to, the Committee on Defense and Interior can get up and say that, looking at the rates at which the kidnapping is going on, I think our law is so soft on them, on those offenders. So let us see if we can do to amend it. Then the proposal may come from the committee to the Attorney General, Minister of Justice.
I believe that's what we are talking about.
But you are talking about Parliament as if Parliament can just be
not so much to amend it, but Parliament can.
But even that proposal must be accepted by the Minister and Cabinet. You see, so it's an executive decision. If it's a policy that when the bill is then, the act is then amended, then the bill will come to Parliament. Parliament will look at it and approve of it. But Parliament on its own can't get up one day and say that, hey, bring the bill, let us.
I'm sorry, but I believe we are still talking about the same thing, that Parliament can indeed make a proposal. And the voice of Parliament in respect of this will be stronger than the voice of Wilberforce Mensah.
But what I'm trying to say is that, yes, that proposal can go as an advice to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, who will make a proposal also to Cabinet and the President for approval. When that approval is done, before it comes to Parliament for us to do it. So it is important for us to understand how it works.
Very well.
Yeah. So as we said, the police commander, the CID, they are saying that people should try to volunteer information to them that can lead to the arrest. And there's one thing they mentioned, if you read the story, that the missing of these girls was reported to the CID 4 days after they've got missing. And this thing can easily affect how quick the security agencies can rescue them, because if somebody is taking them outside the country 4 days before you report to them, they have been transferred or been sent outside the country. And let us congratulate them. We've been able to arrest one or two of the suspects. So this investigation from they are agreeing on the suspect may lead to the location of these girls.
Okay, now we have been joined by Mensah Opoku. Mensah Opoku is our parliamentary correspondent, and he's the host of press conference. Good morning, Duke.
Good morning, Isaac.
So you've heard what the Honourable Member of Parliament had to say in respect of the kidnapping issues. And then, do you not feel that 10-year punishment, looking at of everything that we've been talking about, now these people, especially John Oji, for instance, has been charged with conspiracy to kidnap, and the maximum punishment for kidnapping in our laws is 10 years. Do you feel this is even deterrent enough for future prospective kidnappers?
I think it's inadequate, but we must appreciate the challenge that most of these laws were made at a point in time that kidnapping was not some sort of a very serious crime in this country, or was not even known to our security architecture. That's why there's a constant need for our laws to be reformed. So for me, I think that looking at the fact that our country is growing economically, socially, we are now a lower middle income country, which has got very, very varying effects on various other aspects of our lives. Ghana is beginning to get a better international profile. We are getting, the society is growing. New threats are emerging in terms of security. And the appropriate thing to do in every society is that as threats grow, we need to have laws that are very, very conversant and can deal with the challenges. So that's something that our executive should be thinking about so that it can be brought to Parliament. And the way our Parliament works is also one of the issues that I have, which the current Speaker is trying to address with his promulgation of this private members bill. Elsewhere in the UK or in the United States, this is a course that an MP personally could have sponsored. But because of the structure and the workings of our Parliament, that's not possible, really. So it's something that our executive needs to avert our minds to. We need to be aware of the fact that the threats are growing. The country is growing. Our society is becoming more dynamic. And our society is becoming more dynamic. So do the threats in terms of security. So our security architecture should be able to respond to some of these challenges and not rely on, for want of a better word, obsolete laws to deal with some of these challenges.
Well, anyway, so we'll go for a quick break. When we return, we will be talking about, or I'll have you wrap up on the issue of the Canadian kidnapped girls vis-a-vis the issue of the non-finding of the 3 kidnapped Takoradi girls, and then we'll talk about the Electoral Commission and also issues relating to Ofosu Ampofo. Stay tuned to the Breakfast Daily. Don't go anywhere. Okay, welcome back. We're still joined by the Honourable Member of Parliament for Ayensuano and, of course, Mensah Opoku, who is our parliamentary correspondent and also host of press conference. Now, we're moving on to our next story for today in respect of Ofosu Ampofo. And the story here says Ofosu Ampofo returns to CID headquarters today. I'm reading from citinewsroom.com. The national chairman of the opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, Samuel Ofosu Ampofo, who was granted bail by the police on Tuesday, is expected to report to the headquarters of the CID today. Now, Mr. Ofosu Ampofo is being investigated over the recent kidnapping and arson cases in the country. And the incidents come after the NDC chairman was heard in a leaked audio allegedly inciting party supporters to frustrate the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah, and the chairman of the National Peace Council. There was also mention of kidnappings in the said leaked audio. So there's been a series of kidnappings since the leaked tape, and in respect of which, or according to the CID, after some arrests were made, his name was mentioned. I'll start with you, Mensah Opoku, on this particular development.
I think that there are some things that we need to depoliticize in the country. Things such as security, things such as protocols that are extended to people who are at a certain point in our political structure. I think that the way that the NDC chairman is being treated is unfair. It's unfair because it looks like he is being treated, even though he has brought this upon himself, with the comments purported to he is purported to have made. The way and manner in which he is being treated is he's being used or treated as, quote, a scapegoat for some of these things that are happening. So
you feel he's being treated as a scapegoat?
Yes. But what I mean by that is that there are various challenges with the security system in the country. So there is this issue of kidnapping, there is this issue of arson. I think that until the police is able to prove to a certain point that this is what he's involved in, or this is what he might have said, or there is real evidence to that effect, this back and forth to me amounts to a frustration. You get the point.
You feel maybe the police, but we don't know at this point what the police have. They may have something really concrete. That's why they're insisting on the particular channel they are employing.
Yes, so I'm saying that even though the investigations are ongoing, he's being treated as if he's not being accorded the certain dignity and protocol that is expected of a national chairman of the largest opposition political party in the country. At least, crime is crime. But not to say that, people are, some people are above the law, others are below the law. But that's for his human dignity and for the level that he's at as the national chairman. I mean, this is not something that reverse, if it had been done when the MPP was in opposition and the NDC was in government and they were doing this to Freddie Blay. I mean, there would have been complaints just as it's coming. Well, so I think that there are standard ways that some of these things must be dealt with. Otherwise, everything will be pandering to political motive. And I think at at this
But
point
what
in time, it's not
standard
good.
way? There's been an invitation, come to the CID office or come to the CID headquarters, and then you refuse the invitation. Not even just you yourself. Your council of elders hold a press conference to say that he's not coming. So which other way beyond having a court of competent jurisdiction issue a warrant for his arrest?
I don't want to be citing various examples, but we know of a member of parliament in this country who was invited. He publicly decided that he will not go.
But
The police, we later found that the police rather went to him to extract information. Are there two sets of laws in this country to be dealing with people? I don't want to mention names. I am saying that if the police want to treat this matter very well, treat Ofosu Ampofo with some dignity and with some level of protocol due to his position, they can do that and still extract the information and use the relevant laws and procedures in the country to get him to face the law, rather than this issue of today he's out, tomorrow he's there. For me, it amounts to frustration and the using the strong arm of the law to deal with the opponents, which for me I think is unfair.
Very well. Honorable.
I find it difficult to agree or understand where he's coming from, his position that he's taking. Because if you threaten me that you will kill me, and the next day I'll found dead somewhere, what will happen to you? The police will definitely come for you. They will invite you. That we have on tape that you said you will kill Aye-Paye, and we have found the man dead somewhere. You will be the first person to be invited.
Okay, so are you saying that in respect of the kidnappings?
He mentioned it. Those things that he mentioned.
He mentioned kidnappings, but there's no sign
Some
of market fires or anything in the tape. Okay.
Yeah, recently in Kumasi, fire.
No, I'm saying from the tape I personally heard,
Exactly.
there was no indication of market fires or burning any market. What
I'm trying to say that some of the things that he mentioned in the tape are happening. So it is very important for the police to invite him and said, you mentioned kidnapping. Let's forget about the market
reportedly,
fires.
yes, fine.
He said they would kidnap people to make the country ungovernable. And in fact, when you kidnapping is one thing, that was I started by telling you that, look, investors will not come to this country. When every now and then we hear of kidnapping in the country, it scares investors. Tourism is one of the major things that I recently traveled to Cape Verde. And tourism gives them, contribute 20% of their GDP. So I'm saying that when these things happen, tourists will not come to this country. And it will affect the development of this country. Now, other countries like Canada, like US, UK are trying to caution their citizens in this country to be careful. When this happens, others will not follow up. And those who are even doing business, that government is getting taxes and other things. If care is not taken, they will relocate.
Okay, based on his position.
If Ofosu Ampofo said, we are going to this, knowing very well that these things that can drop the growth of the economy and make governance impossible for the government. This is what we are going to do. And indeed, what he said is happening. The first person to be invited, even whether his name has been mentioned or not, that shouldn't be the issue. The most important thing is that he said it and it is happening. You must invite him. And fortunately, we've been able to arrest.
Before you go on, you keep saying he said it and it's happening. But from what he said, it appears that the kidnapping had to relate to officials in society. And from some reports that are out there, it seemed maybe even connected to the EC. But the three Takoradi girls, amongst others,
is kidnapping. Whether it's go to the poor, the girl, the rich. Once the picture is painted out there, that if you go to Ghana, you'll be kidnapped. Who will come? Nobody. And then you end up achieving his aim. Because the aim is to make the country ungovernable. So my point is that the CID or the police are right to invite him. They have every right to do so. They invited him, come and give us information. He refused to go. The next line of action is to arrest him. And it is normal. When you are arrested by the police and you were granted on bail, they will give you days or weeks that you have to report. And whatever information that they want from you, when they investigate and find out that you set distance, but actually has no link of what is going on, you will be left.
Okay, now let me drag you a bit into law. Let me drag you a bit into law, because if we are concurring that the kidnapping, as mentioned in the tape, which as to the veracity of the tape itself is still being questioned by some. Now, if I'm heard on a tape saying, let's kidnap person B or people related to person B, and person A gets kidnapped, how is it something connected to me?
I said, let's
or simply because the word kidnap has been mentioned?
No, let's kidnap person A to make the house or the country ungovernable.
And then person B gets kidnapped.
Person B, when you kidnap person B, the country also will become ungovernable. Though he did not mention B. The government take position, the security agencies take position to protect person A. And then person B get kidnapped. Definitely you will be invited. Because the objective of kidnapping A and B is same.
Okay, now I'll read a few messages and I'll come back to you, Honorable. From Mr. Inside in Sound, he says here that in as much as Opoku Nkrumah and his government are claiming the glory for rescuing the Canadian nationals, it's the same way they should be blamed for not being able to rescue our Takoradi kidnapped girls. And when Ayensuano was arrested for illegal mining, she was freed, but Ghanaian illegal miners were jailed. So does Nanado believe in Ghana, or does he love Ghanaians at all? We are not secured under Nanado's government. So that's what he has to say. And also, Pajo inquired also says, so our security forces have been able to make a quick arrest in connection to the Canadian girls issue. But with our very own nationals, we have done literally nothing. While 2 people have been arrested in respect of this. And John Oji, for instance, was arrested in Togo, according to some reports. So maybe that's a feather in the cap of the Ghana Police Service. The Russian president was very right when he said, we see Europeans and Americans as gods before us. This is clear indication of what he said pertaining to kidnapping. Okay, so that's what he has to say. He says hi to Mami Soja of Kwadaso. Now, Al Hassan in Wa says, we have to thank the Almighty Allah, government and national security for getting the Canadian kidnappers. In fact, they cannot be a lasting solution to this kidnapping issue if we don't take pragmatic steps to check the way foreigners are entering the country, especially Nigerians, is what he says. Anyway, from Festus in Pokwase, he says the rescue of the 2 Canadian girls by the national security is great news, worth applauding, but the jubilation will be at its crescendo when finally our own Takoradi girls are found alive, in good condition, safe and kicking. As we urge our security agencies to up their game, the good people of Ghana with vital information should also assist the police. Okay, thank you very much. Quite a lot of messages have come in. Abdallah is writing from here and he says, good morning Citi TV and good morning to your panelists. I totally disagree with Duke. Being a chairman of a bigger political opposition party does not mean you are above the law. If you go contrary to the law, it must deal with you no matter your position in society. Anyway, so keep your messages coming through with the hashtag Breakfast Daily, and of course the WhatsApp line is 0550-585832. These are the numbers you see on your screen. Now, you want to
yes, I've listened to Honorable Opoku Nkrumah. He never said that government is not taking responsibility of the Takoradi girls. What he said is that government, in collaboration with the security agencies, are working tirelessly to make sure that those kidnappers will be arrested and the girls will be rescued. And indeed, 2 persons have been arrested. The government is working. That is why I disagree with some of my colleagues MPs. You see, when the rules in your constituency are good and people are praising you, you take the credit. When the rules are bad, you said MPs don't construct roads. You see, the government worked in collaboration with the security agencies, then we have been able to rescue these Canadian girls. So also, it is the government and our responsibility as government to make sure that we rescue these Takoradi girls. If we rescue them, it's a plus to government. If we don't, it's minus. So the information minister says, yes, we are working. Yes, we've arrested 2 people. Yes, we are not resting in rescuing them. Yes, it is our responsibility.
Many are doubting information minister's information in respect of whether or not there was Canadian involvement in the rescue of Canadian
I don't want to speak for the police. But listening to the police officer who also spoke in connection with the Takoradi girls, it can lead that the police rely on a tip-off to rescue the Canadian girl. He said, public information is a key, and public should assist them by giving them information for them to be able to rescue these Canadian girls. This it shows you that clearly it was based on a tip-off from the public. So, yes, we know as soon as these things happen, unlike other third world countries, as for the Canada, US, Canada, UK, if it's one person, they will quickly bring in their security in to come and see what they can do to help. But what information minister is telling us is that this was a work of the national security. And the policeman says that things that lead to some of these things are information from
the public.
Public.
Duke.
Yeah, I just the sentiments that came in from one of the. I didn't say Ofosu Ampofo about the law. All I said was that he should be accorded some dignity. That's the some.
That is why that dignity was the reason why he was arrested and granted bail the same day.
That's the sum point.
That was the reason why you cannot.
But
you cannot.
The charge sheet in court.
We are all politicians.
Duke also made a point. Duke also made a point.
Nana Akufo-Addo want to treat political opponents like what the NDC did to Obi Amwa, like what the NDC did to Kennedy Japon, and many more that we can mention.
He gave an example that sometimes the police, yes, he said sometimes the police can simply go to you
and extract information.
We've seen that in this country. The degree of the offense committed or the suspected, it depends on the degree.
Depends on the degree of the offense committed.
Yes.
So the degree of this offense
in the Kennedy Japon's issue, somebody has been shot there. The police have no information whether Kennedy Japan is involved or not. But somebody rather mentions Kennedy Japan's name. That person rather should go to the police and give evidence as how
But it's a similar situation. According to the police, it's a similar situation we are facing here.
In this case, there's a tape that has not been denied.
The tape was initially denied, even by the former president.
But Ofosu Ampofo himself, on no platform, having heard you, denying that this voice is not mine. All what he said was that, yes, I think it's been inducted. But it has been inducted. It is up to the police to do investigation to find out whether it's been inducted or not. So, my brother, we are saying, like in my situation, if you look at the University of Ghana survey, I don't mean what is happening in my constituency. I even don't need a survey from the University of Ghana to tell me my people are not happy. The roads in my constituency are terrible, very bad, and I'm the roads committee chairman. If you go to anybody in my constituency who is riding and driving on these bad roads and ask you whether you vote for your MP again, they will tell you no, because of the nature of roads that we have. So, I also want to draw our attention to this, that once you are blaming the MP for bad roads, when the roads are fixed, make sure that you do the credit. So as you are blaming us, government, for not being able to rescue these Takoradi girls, because we're hearing the whole lot. Now they even want to give the credit to the Canadian expert that came in. When we get this Takoradi girls,
that is very coincidental.
When we rescue these Takoradi girls, they shouldn't try to give credit to Togolese security because they help in arresting.
You took the opportunity to clear your name in respect of the University of Ghana survey that came out, that in case they find out or you know that your constituency may not be very happy with you. Yes, it's good.
Because of the nature of my rules, and I'm working on them. Some have been awarded, some contractors are on it, and this survey was done before the contractors moved to site. So definitely, if you go there today, if you go to Kota today, you are not going to get different results. So I want to advise that, yes, in the constitution, you may not see that the MP is for developmental projects, but once we lead and hold the parties.
So if they have the survey again in your constituency right now,
the story will be different.
Very well. Very well. Now, EC sets June 17 for limited voters registration exercise. And then, of course, I'm still reading from CitiNewsroom.com, most informative website in the world. It says here the limited voters registration is expected to take off on Monday, June 17. So come Monday, we're expecting this particular thing to start. So this followed the dismissal of an injunction application which sought to restrain the commission from undertaking the exercise. Very, very important. So still reading from CitiNewsroom.com, it says the exercise is expected to end on Sunday, July 7. So it's going to be ongoing for a while. And according to Jane Mensah in a statement, she says, the Electoral Commission announces for the information of the general public that the limited voters registration exercise will now take place on Monday, June 17, 2019 to Sunday, July 7. And this was in a statement she signed herself. The limited voters registration exercise was initially scheduled to begin on June 7 and to end June 27. But this was stalled by the lawsuit. And I think, Duke, I'll start with you before I come to Honorable. Now, the main reason for this particular issue was that it's going to disenfranchise a lot of people. And, of course, the NDC have also come out with certain concerns in respect of what exactly is going on. The projections made by the EC being woefully inadequate, amongst others. Now, there's a court ruling that seemed to dismiss most of these, not to dismiss the fears, but to dismiss a legal claim to stop the EC from doing same. What's the way forward?
It's good that the Electoral Commission is going to go ahead with its plan, because obviously there's a calendar leading up to the district level elections, and then most importantly the referendum to change the provision in our constitution about election of MMDCs on partisan basis. The constitution currently makes provision that it should be based on non-partisan basis. So that's it. So it's good. It will bring their calendar back on track. But what I think is that the Electoral Commission going forward should, I think that one of the things
the constitution doesn't even allow for an election of MMDC.
Yes. So that's what the referendum will seek to address. Yes. But the point I'm making is that the Electoral Commission going forward is not only about working within the processes and the confines of what you have been asked to do, the legal mandate. There's also the consultative mandate of the Electoral Commission. They can quote all the laws, quote all their mandate and whatever. But the most important thing is for them to be able to deliver a job that will be acceptable to all the players and the stakeholders in our political process. And for me, I think that the case might have been dismissed legally, but of course the NDC may be playing mischief with insistence that the EC should stick to their position. But the point I'm making is that the Electoral Commission should act as an arbiter and ensure that all concerns are brought on board so that we can have an incident-free process. Don't forget about the fact that this will be a dress rehearsal towards next year. Next year is the general election, and from the way things are going, it's going to be a very heated election next year because of the stakes involved. The EC should be seen as a fair arbiter, should be seen as an arbiter that can get to a consensus position. But from the way complaints are going, of course, we know that the political parties always will do this when they are in opposition. But the real...
But objectively, looking at it objectively, are even seeing the EC stance as being a fair arbiter? Because I don't think Johnson Estado, for instance, will have that stance.
I think there are some things that they have not been able to explain clearly. For instance, the issue about disenfranchising people. Now I've heard Madam Jean Mensah, I've heard my good old lecturer, Dr. Bosman, make arguments about what they want to do with regard to this, and that going forward it will feed into the grand agenda of a new register for this. But the matter of a register is a very critical issue that you need to get the buy-in of all political parties to do that. You have you are putting in place registration at just a few points in a constituency. What about somebody, say in Accra, who lives in Adabraka and has to go all the way to, say, Tudu Even if 2 days even close by, to go and register. I mean, what motivation is there going? What motivation is the person going to have to go and do that? I think the process needs to be made, much more accessible, so that we can have an incident-free process. They might have cleared the legal path. Of course, it will keep their agenda, their calendar in check, but they must focus on consensus building so that we can have an incident-free process next year. That's what I think.
Thank you very much. I'm sure I'll come back to you. But Honorable Aye-Paye.
Yeah, well, let me first clear this. The Constitution has been amended by Parliament to give way for election of DCs. The referendum, there's an entrenched position in the Constitution that is that whether...
There has to be a referendum.
No. As for the election of DCs, that one, it is not entrenched in our Constitution.
On the partisan basis.
So that has been done by Parliament. But either the election should be done in a partisan basis. That one, it must come with a referendum because the Constitution is not saying so. So before we can do that, we have to amend a portion of the Constitution to make sure that we can go on part. So even if we say yes or no, still, election of MMDCs will come on. But what we are going to do is either it should be done on a partisan basis, or every individual can just get up, go and pick a form and start to contest to become a DC or whatever. So that is clear. 2, my brother, we are trying to look at issues of elections in this country. If you critically look at judgments or court rulings that involve Electoral Commission, you could see clearly that our judges are trying everything possible within their domain, also by the law, not to delay or stop elections in this country. Have you understood my point? They are trying to, because as soon as that chance is given for individuals to delay, then of course, if I want Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo to be in power for more than 8 years, after 2024, just before 2024 elections, I can go and put injunction on the 2024 elections so that he will continue to be president for the next 2 years while we go to court. So our judicial system is trying to prevent that. So anything that will delay the calendar of the Electoral Commission, to some extent, they are trying to avoid it. So if you have issues after the elections, bring it. Then, even if it is 1 year, we'll still be dragging and have solution. That is why the Aye-Paye is also there to make sure that some of these differences are ironed out at that level before it goes to the courts or whatever. So individuals can't just go to court and say, I've put an injunction on it. Definitely the court will throw it away, especially when it is going to delay a process involving elections. So we should, I think the court has done the right thing. I think all Ghanaians must support that. As I
feel all Ghanaians must support that. Because the effect of dismissing the injunction application, the effect of that is that we are still going to have the limited venues for the limited registration. That's
what I was trying to say. Personally, and looking at the nature of my constituency, personally, this is not a position of my party, because it seems my party is holding a different position from my personal position because of where
it appears your party is supporting the EC in this regard.
Well, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that looking at my personal position and where I'm coming from in my constituency, even if you do it electoral area by electoral area, still I have to transport people from one point to the electoral area.
So they should decentralize
so now that it is at certain points, not electoral area based, but at a district basis, it's going to create problem for people like us. But that must be discussed at the Aye-Paye meeting. Solution must be found.
And what does it appear the position of your party is on this one?
If we don't get the Electoral Commission change their mind and do it the way that we want them to do, we by the political parties want them to do, and it's get to this point, I don't think it is advisable.
You say your party's position may be different from yours. How does it appear your party's position is?
Well, I don't know the position of my party for now. And my party, as a spokesperson for the government, I don't think we have any position. We've allowed Electoral Commission to operate. And that is the way, the position we've taken. If Electoral Commission thinks that they have the means to do it at electoral area points, we don't have any qualm with that. If they think they don't have the enough resources by now, or there's any other thing that prevents them from doing it at electoral area centers and they want to do it at the DC centers, we are with them. That is exactly what the
so maybe silently, you are also hoping that the injunction application would have succeeded.
Not at all. I'm saying that
because that would have been to your position or what you're hoping for.
Personally,
yes.
I think if I want it to be solved, or if I want it at electoral area position, the solution is not putting an injunction on the process, because putting an injunction is going to delay the process. And I'm saying that if we set a bad precedent by saying that an individual can go to court and put injunction on electoral process in this country, then one president can rule for years.
Okay.
Because Kodjo will send it to court. Then it's okay, let's see. Because the court action, we can't have our general election.
So you're hoping the EC may
continue doing that. So,
are you hoping the EC backtracks so that it will be based on electoral areas and not on districts?
If my constituency is anything to go by, I would say yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
But what we are saying as government, what we are saying as a party, is that we should give the Electoral Commission the free hands.
Thank you very much. Honorable Aye-Paye, he is the Honorable Member of Parliament for Ayensuano, and of course we're also joined by Mensah Opoku, who is our parliamentary correspondent, and of course he is also the host of press conference. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me on News Review this morning. Now, very, very interesting segments coming up right here on Breakfast Daily, so don't go anywhere.
I wanted to talk about our receipt bill battle.
We will talk about that next week. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere.